Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gianmario Maggio, and I'm responsible for EIT manufacturing for Southern Europe. I would like to give you a warm welcome to our event today entitled SMEs The Way Forward, dedicated to small medium enterprises and held in the context of the World Manufacturing Week 2021. So first, let me start by saying a few words regarding EIT manufacturing. EIT Manufacturing is an innovation community supported by the EIT, European Institute of Innovation and Technology, that connects the leading manufacturing actors across Europe. In fact, EIT Manufacturing brings more than 65 European leading partners from business, research, and education from 17 different countries. And as part of its strategy, EIT Manufacturing has defined so-called innovation areas or flagships, one of which is called Flexible Production Systems for Competitive Manufacturing. And this flagship is regarding adaptable and versatile production lines so that the production can adapt quickly to the market conditions and external factors. So what are the implications? The flexibility in the production results in resilience, which is indeed one of the key attributes that has emerged during the recent pandemic crisis, which has affected, as we know, the entire manufacturing sector and especially SMEs. So in this respect, let me recall the importance of manufacturing as a main driver of industrial innovation, job creation, and growth in Europe. Manufacturing stands for 2 million enterprises in Europe, providing more than 32 million jobs. And SMEs actually represent 90% of all business in Europe, and therefore are the backbone of the European economy. So EIT Manufacturing, together with the other organizations represented here today, is committed to support the growth of small, medium enterprises across Europe. And we will see later on which instruments are available to this end. Moreover, recently, EIT Manufacturing has approved a new membership model, which is more SME-friendly and makes it more attractive for SME to join our partnership. So now, coming back to today's event, in the first session, we are considering the landscape of manufacturing SMEs in a post-pandemic scenario. And we will be presenting you what are the instruments at the European, national, and regional level to support SMEs in bouncing back and starting to grow again. And the second and the third session of today's event will highlight which good practices have emerged in terms of flexible production and resilience, also as a result of digitalization. So if you have any questions during the session, please make sure to enter them in the Q&A area within the Hopin platform. Thank you. And let me now introduce the first keynote speaker for today. We have Stefan Reis, who works as a policy analyst at the OECD Center for SMEs, Entrepreneurship Regions and Cities, and he focuses on the development of the OECD SMEs and the entrepreneurship strategy, and on the SME policy response to COVID-19 across 60 countries. Welcome, Stefan. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Gianmario, and good afternoon to you all from a sunny Paris. It's great to meet you all, and I'm honored to share a bit of our work on SMEs and COVID that we did over the year and a half. Let me start by showing something that you know, if my screen moves. Voila. SMEs, more than I believe ever before, have been at the epicenter of the crisis that we've experienced. On the right-hand panel here, you see the share of employment in SMEs in the most effective sectors, including manufacturing like automotive. And what you see is that share is enormous. And in Southern European countries, which you see on the left side, it's even higher than elsewhere. We monitored over 180 surveys across the world and found consistently recently that 70 to 80% of SMEs experienced a strong drop in revenues. What we saw as well, important for today, is that startup rates declined sharply at the beginning of the pandemic, but then started to recover, of course, leaving the question why, and that bankruptcy rates in many countries have not dropped as much as you might have expected. Policymakers have responded rapidly to this pandemic. In the beginning, and you all have experienced that with strong rescue packages in the period from March 2020 onwards, but gradually being complemented and replaced by recovery packages, including in the European Union, what you've seen, of course. Now, what we've done on the basis of monitoring these policy responses is to articulate 15 lessons learned, you could say challenges that are important for moving forward policies to support SMEs. These 15 are, of course, too many to discuss here in this brief presentation, but I'll highlight a few of them that hopefully help you set the scene for the debate of today. Three types of challenges I want to focus on. One is about the focus of policies to support SMEs. The second one is about resilience. And the third one is about continue to think small first, also when we're moving towards recovery. Talk about focus first. One of the critical issues, I think, is still that although economies are doing better at the moment, that we are still in a situation where SME debt has risen considerably. And one of the challenges and the things to consider is not to stop liquidity support too rapidly so that we end up with a wave of bankruptcies. Secondly, is that, as you saw in the previous slide, certain groups of entrepreneurs have been more affected by than others. Women entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. And one of the challenges is to make sure that we target support by governance on those who need it most. Targeted on the viable ones, targeted on the SMEs that promise to help construct a better future. And related to that, a great need to reboot startup policies. I said before, startup rates dropped, but then started to grow again. But a large part of that is what we call necessity-driven entrepreneurship, whereas what we need in our startup policies to focus again on those promises SMEs in manufacturing and elsewhere who can help bring recovery. Secondly, resilience, this term that is now so prominent in SME and entrepreneurship policies, and more importantly, in companies as well. Of course, partly related to the disruptions in supply chains and companies reconsidering how they organize themselves, how they deal with overseas supply. And governments, of course, as well, try to look at that. This question of resilience and how to support it is one critical one for the years to come. Digitalization is an important part of that. SMEs that were more digital managed to respond better to the pandemic than others, but still SMEs lag behind many larger firms in their digital capacities, boosting that critical for recovery. And then finally, also for government and for policymakers, resilience is an important factor. How can we transform and improve policy frameworks in such a way that we're better able to deal with the next recession, with the next pandemic, which of course we all hope is not going to take place. The third thing that I want to show you is this notion of keep on thinking small first while we build back better. That means that when we're developing and implementing the recovery programs at the moment, that SMEs should be consulted. Their views should be listened to make sure that what policymakers do indeed is effective. And also, we should not forget that SMEs are still in difficult situations, that building back better also still means that we have to provide the means for recovery of SMEs. And I'll show you a little bit of work that we did more recently, where that is something to think about. If you look at the rescue packages by governments, which were launched, as I said before, early in 2020, a large share of that, approximately 20%, was directly related and focused on SMEs. Now, if you look at the recovery package, I apologize, in the recovery packages, that percentage is considerably lower. We see a larger focus on startups, but if you, for instance, look at greening and you see what the share of funding is that is targeted to SMEs in these greening funding packages, the share is actually very, very small. So in conclusion, SMEs and entrepreneurs have been at the center of the impact of the pandemic, and governments have rushed in to support them, which is extremely important. But we're not out of that yet. We need to make sure that also in the recovery, we keep on taking the circumstances of SMEs in manufacturing as well as in services into account, and to make sure not just the recovery packages, but also the policy frameworks for SMEs are fit for the post-COVID-19 age. I leave it to that. I included some of OECD's work here in the slide. Happy to leave that to be shared. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Stefan, for this interesting perspective. Indeed, I think you mentioned a few interesting points, including, for example, digitalization as an enabler also to allow this resilience, and also the importance of SMEs to be involved in the policy regarding the recovery packages that are being deployed across countries. So we might come back to this at the end. Thank you so much for the time being, for your intervention. And now I would like to introduce Klaus Betz, who is the CEO of EIT Manufacturing and comes from a long experience with Siemens, where he was working as Vice President for External Cooperation. So I'm glad to give the floor to Klaus.
There's the first slide missing. Okay, hello, good afternoon, a warm welcome from my side. I'm happy to be here today because, as Gian Mario mentioned in the beginning, the SMEs are really the backbone of the European industry. And Europe has been always the home of industry and a pioneer in manufacturing innovation. And our vision is that also beyond Industry 4.0, in Industry 5.0, in Industry 6.0, Europe is the leading continent in manufacturing innovation. And, sorry, there is something wrong with my slides. And as I said, SMEs are really the backbone of our industry. And we have to support the SMEs in the transition towards the digital economy, towards the circular economy, towards the carbonization of industry. So the main challenges in Europe are helping the SMEs in the transition towards the digital economy. Behind the digital economy, there are a lot of different technologies. Artificial intelligence, of course, but also cloud computing, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality, and much more of them, edge computing, Internet of Things. So we have to help the SMEs to deal with this variety of technologies. And towards the circular economy, our goal is really to make Europe a role model for green and sustainable production. And also this has a strong economical effect. We have to with green technologies, become the world market leader for green technologies. This has also a strong economical effect. And we have seen now during the pandemic how the worldwide complex distributed supply chains, how fragile they are. So also from that point of view, if Europe becomes more independent with the circular economy, with more reuse of raw materials, all what we can reuse, we have not to buy and get delivered from other continents. So there are a lot of aspects where we, as a innovation community dedicated to manufacturing, plan to support the European SMEs. And one I want to mention here is our innovation platform, Agora. We just launched. This is an open innovation platform. You will find a lot of useful information there, a technology radar with the most important technologies in the manufacturing domain. with use cases from industry where this technology were successful deployed, with companies that are working, startups that are working with these technologies, and a lot more. And a lot more you will find on our Agora platform. One topic I want to highlight, our webinars, Tuesdays from Future. These webinars are dedicated really to hot manufacturing topics. In the past, we had already 5G in production. The next one will be next week, next Tuesday actually, on blockchain. And there will be much more with industrial use cases, with experts during these webinars. And I think this I can recommend to every SMEs to participate in these webinars and get really advice, guidance from experts, from successful use cases. And the second one I want to highlight, what we as innovation community, as network, will provide to the SMEs is our online learning platform, skills.move. Skills.move. This is an online learning platform by manufacturers, for manufacturers, with a manufacturing content. This is organized in learning nuggets, and the learning nuggets can be combined to complete learning paths. This is hands-on and adaptable in line with real industry needs and experiences. So these are some services, and our understanding of EIT manufacturing as an innovation community is really to develop EIT manufacturing as a service organization, offering services to the whole manufacturing industry in Europe. And Agora and the skills.move are two of the cornerstones of our services. And if we look now into the three pillars of the knowledge triangle, in the innovation, education, and business creation, what we will offer in the three pillars for SMEs. So in the innovation pillar, we are really focusing on the last mile of very major technologies to bring them as new services, as new products to the market. That it really means research, development, and innovation, R&D and I, and not R&D and die. So here we have really the focus on major technologies. On the knowledge triangle, we have also the education part, so we can combine the technologies with the education, with trainings for these new technologies, and bring this together. And we focus very much also on the commercialization on the business side. So is there really a market for these new technologies? Are there users? How will they perceive this new technology? So really focusing very strong not only on the maturation of the technology, but also on the business side and on the commercialization to bring this to market. In the education pillar, we have launched our own master school, our PhD program. So this is a unique opportunity to get already early with young talents that are in our master school, in our PhD program, in contact, offering them, for instance, a master thesis or defining a PhD program together with our education experts to take part in our summer school and winter camps and get there in touch with very competent students already. So there is a huge pool of talents will be available out of our entrepreneurial, of our education activities with an entrepreneurial mindset, with a business mindset. This is what we are focusing on in our education activities, not only teaching technologies and the technology know-how, but also the know-how how to make business with these technologies. What does it mean for the commercialization of technologies? And so forth. And last but not least, our business creation pillar. Here we have dedicated program, for instance, our SME Transform Call, a call specifically for SMEs, and SMEs can get their 100K funding to upgrade their product line, to build a pilot with a digitalization background, to implement a new technology to get more efficient, more flexibility in the product line. And we have dedicated service tools bringing advanced technologies from startups into major companies, into SMEs, to bringing them together, financing a pilot between a startup and the SMEs, deploying the new technologies from the startups in the SME environment. These are services we offer from our business creation pillar. Just 2 examples that were also classified by the EIT as success story. The one is SoftStream, developing a software tool simulation and a path planning, real-time monitoring and traceability tool. And there were several research institutes like RISE from Sweden, the University of Braunschweig from Germany, and the Spectrum Technology as an SME from Sweden participating in this project. The second example is Canvas. Here we have also, as technology providers, research and technology organizations like CEA from France and DFKI from Germany, we have done the industrial testing in an industrial environment at the Politecnico di Milano and at Whirlpool, and we had Sherpa Engineering as an SME with us also deploying this technology in an SME environment. So I hope I could give you an overview what we as innovation community dedicated to manufacturing can offer and how we can support the small and medium-sized enterprises in Europe. As Gian-Mario said, and I would like to emphasize, this is the backbone of the European industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Klaus, for your intervention. And I think it really comes across the commitment of EIT Manufacturing for engaging SMEs. So an open innovation ecosystem. And also we've seen also what kind of actions and services are being deployed across the different pillars of EIT Manufacturing. Thank you so much. And we'll continue the discussion afterwards.
Yeah.
So now it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who is Francesco Matteucci. Francesco is working as EIC Program Manager for Materials for Energy and Environmental Sustainability and Innovation Management. Francesco has relevant experience as Corporate R&D Manager within the field of renewable energy production and storage. He also co-founded and directed several startups and joint labs, managing public-private partnership. Welcome, Francesco.
Hi, Gian-Mario. Good morning to everybody. Thanks for the invitation.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will try to shortly introduce you the EIC. And the EIC, the European Innovation Council, and as an executive agency, we can say it's part of the Pillar 3, so of the Horizon Europe, and it's the agency with the big ambition to overcome the European paradox, so to help and to nurture all the path from ideation of research up to market uptake. We try to do this in a focused way concerning the focus that been focusing our funding to the field of deep tech, where for deep tech we mean problem-oriented solutions, science-driven at the convergence of technology, and that obviously require quite a long time for the market uptake. And so we are here to fund through different funding instruments, through support schemes. We have got 3 different types of funding schemes ranging from low GRL breakthrough research in the field of Pathfinder, then scaling up this technology from the proof of principle up to the prototype phase with the transition funding scheme. And then for the only one mono beneficiary called that is accelerator, we fund SMEs that start from a prototype and wants to go closer to the market. We have got 2 types of, all the 3 support schemes have got 2 ways of funding. One, it's an open call, that means that there is no topic prescription. And the second one is called the challenge base. That means there are challenges identified by the EIC, by the Program Manager's Office of the EIC, and the applicants have to apply for this kind of topic that has been selected. Just if we focus, as it's the topic of today, on the tool for SMEs, we can look the EIC Accelerator Scheme that is, as I said before, a scheme focused for small, medium enterprises that wants to scale up their innovation with, as I repeated before, with a strong focus on being a breakthrough innovation. That means not an incremental innovation, but something that has got really science behind and wants really to create a new market or to go inside markets where they can really make the difference thanks to their development. So we provide two different types of funding. That means grant, but also equity funds, because it has been set up, the EIC Venture Capitalist Fund. So the companies can apply for only the grant or the equity or merged funding. And we provide, as we will see in the next slides, also business acceleration services. That means that one of the characteristics of EIC is that it is the only European Commission agency that can combine the policy with the implementation. That means every year we write our work program, and every project will be helped and supported working with other projects in a portfolio approach, so on certain topics, but each project will have not only a project officer working, but also a program manager. That means someone that will work together with the project officer and the colleagues to provide help, science and business-wise, to the funded project. So when we say, are you ready? Is your idea right to apply for the accelerator? It's important to look at this very important questions, like if your innovation will have a high impact. If it is the case to look for this high risk funding, I say high risk because unfortunately the success rate is very limited. We are below the threshold of 5%. And last but not least, obviously, if your technology, as I said before, can go inside the field of breakthrough deep tech innovation. And what can you apply for? As I said before, in the case of grants, you can have up to 2.5 million, while for equity, you can go up to 15 million. How to apply the procedure? We hope it is every day. We try to be an easy way of giving money, so you can work in this scheme that starts with a short application, with a short video, and then if you go through the other steps, you will find that it will be compulsory to provide the full proposal and slides with the business plan, and then there is a final interview. Concerning the help that we provide to the companies in terms of business acceleration services, we can see that we provide this kind of help to all the companies that will apply and will win Pathfinder, Transition, and Accelerator. And when we focus on Accelerator, the help is provided, as I said before, for scaling up the technology. So we will provide help concerning access to advice, so mentoring, teaching, and also coaching, and so helping the companies to increase the knowledge and the skills of the team with different kind of help. And there will be specific support in business development, connecting with business partners, so helping the companies in working on the side of the stakeholder engagement and being a part of the ecosystem of innovation, so working with the peers, as I said before, connecting with other projects, connecting also, and where possible and where relevant, with the regional and national actors of the ecosystem, and looking for synergies, and in the case of equity, looking also for future investors. Investors, that means crowding in, using the money given by European Commission in order to increase the funding that each company will have. Because the idea of the EIC Venture Capitalist is to work as a patient investor, giving smart money that can also be used to crowd in private investors. And so if we just look, when I said before deep tech, we can see 4 examples of projects that has been funded, and we can see that the spectrum of technologies is very broad. We go from robotic system to photonic structures to the field of material science, and we can see that the characteristics are very similar, each one to the other, because as I said before, these companies are working toward the market upscale of their deep tech, non-incremental, and so breakthrough innovation. And so we are here, the calls are open, both for Accelerator, Transition, and Pathfinder. You can find all the relevant information Googling or dialing in Google EIC World Program 2021, and starting from the second half of December, there will be also the World Program of 2022. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francesco, for this comprehensive presentation regarding the instrument provided by EIC. And I believe EIC is now putting some fuel to enable the growth, the bouncing back of the SME that was mentioned in one of the previous interventions. And also, I believe there are very interesting potential synergies and complementarity with EIT in general. So we are happy to have you here and potentially explore those in the future. And now we have seen what are some of the instruments at the European level. Let's now turn to the national level. So I'm happy to introduce Teresa Del Pizzo, who is working at Invitalia. And Invitalia is the Italian National Agency for Investment and Economic Development. Tiziana, the floor is yours.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't see my presentation, so I'm sorry. Do you see it?
No. Not
Okay.
for the time being. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Is it okay? Okay, I'm sorry.
Coming forward, yes.
Okay.
Coming
so
up now,
you're-
yes.
oh,
So you should be all
okay,
set
you're off.
now.
We're set. Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm Teresa Del Pizzo, as you said. I'm working for the Invitalia, that is the Italian National Agency for Inward Investment Development and Economic Development. And I'm here to representing my agent, my company, and I bring to the floor also the greetings and apologies for made by Luigi Gallo that can't attend this session. So I will present some of the main incentives available in my country for SMEs, and so we'll see together during the presentation. So first of all, I'll present a little bit more the company, who is Invitalia. As I said before, Invitalia is the National Agency for Inward Investment Development and Economic Development, and it's owned by 100% by the Ministry of Economy. So we are a company that is owned by the government, even if it's a private company, and we support all the main agencies and the ministries and local authorities in different fields, mostly helping managing incentives for SMEs. You know, in Italy, the backbone of the economy is composed mainly by SMEs. So all the incentives we are managing since Invitalia was born are directed to support this typical, mostly this kind of enterprises. So this is what the agency does, fosters new productive investments, helps setting up new enterprises, and focuses on strategic sectors that come from the government, of course. And then we support reconversation and requalification projects and reviving crisis areas. So this is mostly for bigger companies. And so we support entrepreneurship, enforce enterprises' competitive arena, and support large investments. So now I will illustrate some of the main incentives for SMEs that are now available for companies in the country. And we'll see, these are the incentives. So first of all, this is a fact sheet about one of the main incentive that is dedicated to the circular economy. This is a great modern theme. I mean, something that we have to deal with in the future. So this is the target of this incentive are companies and research centers that can approach singularly or in a joined way. And sectors are manufacturing or direct services to manufacturing companies. The funding scheme is dedicated to 50% of the eligible expenses, and we contribute to the expenditure on different ways. So 20% for micro and small enterprises, 50% for medium enterprises, and 10% for large ones. And the project sizes vary from 500,000 euros to 2 million, and they are dedicated for industrial research and experimental development projects. And it's a measure that it covers to all Italy. So it's not only dedicated to a particular region or a set of regions. I'm going to go very fast because we have many of these. These are the most important. The second one is this National Energy Efficiency Fund. As you see, in this case, all sectors are included. It's guarantees or loans dedicated to companies that want to get more efficient infrastructure, energy services, and seismic risk mitigation. So this is active in all through Italy. And the third one, these are the three latest incentives, is dedicated to digital transformation. In this case, the target is SMEs, and the sectors are defined and it's dedicated to manufacturing sector, tourism and trade. And you see there are diverse funding, combined funding. So we have subsidized funding and repayable contributions for projects that vary from 50,000 euros to 500, and this third is already as the other two dedicated for all our country. Then we have another series of the measures that are dedicated to other limited areas where there are crisis areas, like this one for the revitalization of industrial crisis areas. And it's combined funding grants, the development contract that is a large, dedicated to large projects for SMEs and large enterprises that want to for processing new investments, and these innovative investments. This incentive is dedicated to also to SMEs for investments on new machineries and moving to smart manufacturing. And as you see, this incentive is dedicated to 5 regions of the southern part of Italy, so Basilicata, Calabria, Campania, Puglia, and Sicily. And then I'm going very fast. I know my time is gone, so I'm sorry about this. But we have another Smart and Smart Italia that's dedicated to new enterprises, creation of new enterprises. The brevetti più, that is a measure to help companies to commercialize their products that have undergone to property development, so industrial property development. And this is a new measure that is a measure that qualifies enterprises in terms of services. So it is about giving vouchers for incubation and acceleration services. And we have very quickly then we are part of the Italia Startup Network, where we provide several important services for enterprises in order to orientate, accompany them through incentive process. And last, we are part of this Scale Up program in partnership with the LITER. It's a program of the Italian Stock Exchange in coordination with the Italian Industrial Federation in order to grow and enhance the skills or small innovative companies in the South. So I'm sorry about being a little bit late about it, but I thank you for your attention. And this is what a really broad and overview of what is ready in Italy for SMEs in this moment.
Thank you very much, Teresa, for this comprehensive presentation about the instruments. Indeed, Invitalia is the government arm when it comes to supporting SMEs. And we've seen also the diversity of the instruments. Maybe one quick question. Will Invitalia also be engaged in managing the recovery funds for Italy in the future?
Good question.
Okay.
Well, I mean, well, we have collaborated in supporting the government in different ways in writing the plan, and so we think we will in a way be involved in the future. I think so. Yes, but
still work in progress.
Yes, it's a work in progress. Yes.
Okay. Thanks again. Please stay with us in case there are questions. Thank you so much for your intervention.
Thanks.
And now I'm very glad also now we have seen the European instrument, we've seen the national perspective, and now we go more into the regional perspective. And I'm very glad to introduce Paolo Dondo, who graduated in electronic engineering at the Turin Polytechnic. After 20 years spent in research, innovation, and product development in the automotive sector, he's currently senior consultant and technical manager of the Regional Innovation Cluster, MESAP, Smart Product and Manufacturing. And thank you so much for joining us, Paolo, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. So I'll show you some of our experience on regional innovation cluster. We have 12 years of experience. Mainly our background is on mechatronic. In 2016, we have changed our policy, enlarging also our research agenda to smart products and smart manufacturing. So you can see, some of our partners. Let's say it's regional and national level. We will see later the connection at the European level. So what we want to show you are the connection also with the regional policy, with the Regione Piemonte, Regione Valle d'Aosta, the national clusters, so a network of different regional clusters, and also some partners vertical like the competence centers, CIM 4.0, and also other important part of our ecosystem like the Digital Innovation Hub Piemonte, and also let's say tertiary education like ETS, that are very important for not only for today but also for the future policy for training of young people. We are part of a network of 7 different innovation clusters in our region. We have more than 270 members. Part of them are academia, so universities and research and technology organization. The heart of our cluster are SMEs. That's our main focus, but also we have about 40 large companies there. So these are some logos, but I don't want to go very deep here. What I want to highlight is that there are different industrial sector in our cluster, and each of our members is part of 3 different industrial supply chains. So we think very important. This we can say we are a horizontal cluster, so we are not vertical in a specific industrial sector, but due to our mechatronic background, we really encompass different industrial sector. So really also the let's say the interdisciplinarity and let's say also the deployment of different technologies born in different fields and the technology transfer are really part of our experience. So we take into account the whole value chain, starting from research and development and engineering, going to the end, let's say to the value-added services, take into account also production of components and parts. And the other view could be that 50% of our members are technology providers and 50% are technology adopters. So there's really a need and a strong demand for technologies and for, let's say, adopters of this technology. So what we do, cross-fertilization, I told you before, due to the horizontal cluster, the technology transfer. This is also connected to some regional measures and funds and calls on projects for technology transfer. And also we foster the collaboration, let's say not on the public funding, but let's say on the other important pillar, that is the private funding and the support to industrialization, to some business that comes out from industrialization of prototypes and opportunities to go to the market, putting together different value chains with a strong market orientation. Important the intercluster cooperation at European level. We will see you later. And also we make some activities about innovation update for our members. These are, I wanted to give you the impact, okay? This is, I think, important. It is give you the weight of the activities that we have done until now, different calls, different programs. Let's say that the main policy are usually technology project for technology transfer from research and technology organization to usually consortia made of small and medium enterprise, but sometimes with large enterprise and the small and medium enterprise. The way in which the help is given to the companies are usually grants. We had some calls with the loans, but you may see the figures. So more than 100 projects and feasibility study projects usually go to TRL 7. So let's say near to market, but not on the market, as you may understand. The feasibility studies are usually projects that have the target of let's say a lower TRL, that is usually a TRL that could be 4 or 5. So are usually activities for engineering of the new solution, but not going on the physical with a physical prototype or a physical demonstrator usually. More than 280 entities involved. So we have research and technology organization, we have enterprises, most of them are small and medium, more than 80 millions of costs, project cost, and more than 44 million of funding. As I told you before, many of them are about grants. We also have some projects, we made some project intercluster with other companies from different clusters in our region and more than 10 industrial sectors. I remember you that we have 16 different industrial sectors in our clusters. This is also the collaboration. The network, we think it's important. We had also, we participated to a European project that with cascading grants. IoT of industry was active until 2 years ago, and now we have a new project with future casting grants that will start. The calls will start in 2022. That is Mind for Machines. We think it's very important, this aspect, and we think that the collaboration is the key. So thank you very much, and thank you again.
Thank you, Paolo, for this a very interesting perspective. Maybe can you just clarify, out of this grant that was mentioned, like 44 million, what is the share that comes from the region, from the regional instruments?
Okay. This was really, let's say, a snapshot of regional instruments.
Okay.
These are, let's say, all the funds given to the cluster policy. So are projects that are taking into account the participation of cluster members. So it's open. I mean, you can apply to this call, and then as soon as you win the project, you have to, to join the clusters. It's not something that is closed just to cluster members. But this is a really strong incentive. We have other calls that are not in these figures, that are other regional instruments with different, let's say, targets, with different level of TRL as well. We have also industrialization calls for higher TRL goals, but I was just focusing on this kind of instruments because usually they are more targeted to the SMEs needs. The other instruments are more for, let's say, large companies and things like that.
Sure. Thanks again. So now we'll have a few minutes for further discussion. I'm also joined again by Klaus Betz, the CEO of EIT Manufacturing, here on stage. And let me go back to Stefan, if I may, based on your presentation, Stefan. And so based on also on the analysis by OECD, what do you think is the greatest challenge that SMEs are facing right now in this post-pandemic era? Hopefully this is now almost over. But based on your analysis, what is your opinion on that?
Thank you, Gian Mario, and thanks also to the other speakers with their insightful presentations. I mean, the first challenge is to survive for SMEs. I mean, there is such a level of debt that's been built up because of the pandemic, but also by making use of debt finance in support packages. That I think that should be top of the list. But next to that, of course, I mean, SMEs, and many of them are doing that, are looking beyond that period and trying to invest in the means to become more productive, competitive, and resilient. And there, I think, and some of you have said the same, that the digitalization agenda is absolutely key. I mean, not only for the top innovators, but also for SMEs with perhaps a lower innovation content, but we still need to improve their capacity to deal with these kind of events. So digitalization for me, Gian Mario, would be very high as a challenge and an opportunity, I think, for European SMEs.
Very good. Thank you, Stefan. And now I would like maybe to pose a question to the other speakers. So from your perspective, what is the top priority to support SMEs from the different, of course, organizations? I would maybe start with Klaus Betz here with the EIT Manufacturing.
Yeah, from my point of view, really, we have to increase the competitiveness of Europe, and we have to increase the competitiveness of the SMEs in Europe. And for me, the top priority is really here the digitalization. Behind this term digitalization, there are a variety of different technologies and how to exploit them really in the SMEs, in their product lines, and education is key for that. So the deployment of digital technologies has to go hand in hand with educating the people, not only in the shop floor, at all levels, also to run traditional manufacturing business inside a digital economy needs different capabilities on the top management. For instance, the decision if I sell my manufactured product as a box, as I have done over the last, I don't know how many decades, or I sell the box to a lower price, or even give it away for free and make the business with the services around the box. This is a top decision by the management who can be decisive for the survival of the company.
Thank you very much, Klaus, for sharing your perspective. I would like now to go to Francesco Matteucci. What is the top priority from your perspective to support SMEs?
Yeah, I agree with what the colleagues said before concerning digitalization, but I think that also the capability, so the culture of innovation, so the training, what EIT before showed concerning the PhDs, and I think that if we want to help the SMEs, it could be really relevant to help them in nurturing the culture of innovation, so the training skills of their team, because this could allow them, to look also for new ways of surviving, as Stefan said before. So I think that the creation of this kind of knowledge and skills inside the team would be really valuable in the SMEs.
Thank you very much, Francesco. Let's hear from Teresa Del Pizzo. What do you consider as a top priority from the perspective of Invitalia?
Yeah, from our perspective, what I can say is that I agree with the aim of the companies that have to survive. So in order to do this, I look in my country, I can say that we need less bureaucracy. So digitalization, of course, is one of the main aspects to develop in order to help this less bureaucracy. And one key aspect, according to my opinion, is technology transfer. And so the exploitation and the valorization of intellectual property and trying to bridge the gap there is still between research and the research centers and universities and the SMEs that can really can be aided by this transfer. So yes, innovation and digitalization and less bureaucracy. This is according to my point of view.
Sure, thank you very much, Teresa. And Paolo, who is also very close with the SMEs on the ground. What is, based on your experience, based on your perspective, what they need most, what is the top priority right now from your point of view?
I agree with Mr. Betz. We are really struggling to use also the digitalization for SMEs, also to leverage, let's say, a new business model to lead the servitization. That is not easy for SMEs because they really have to change their mind and the way they interact with their customer. But we think that this could be a way to, let's say, to change the scenario, and without competing on the price, with producers from other countries that are lower cost country, is really changing the paradigm. The other is really to think about the sustainability that is not, let's say, separate from digitalization, but really to think about a new way to have, let's say, a reverse supply chain or start remanufacturing the products or using the products and putting them back in the market, leveraging also with the digital technologies. We think that these are two aspects that is the business and, let's say, a new way to do business and to be sustainable also, that we think that are very important and has to be taken into account and have also to be sustainable economically. They have to be, let's say, with a benefit. But we think these could be two aspects very important for the near future, not only for the let's say the far future, but really for the near future.
Sure. Okay, I think we are coming to an end, so I really would like to thank our distinguished keynote speakers today at the World Manufacturing Foundation, my colleagues at EIT Manufacturing also working behind the scene, and of course, all the online audience for your kind attention. So we'll now have a short break, and after, my colleague Eduardo Rota will take over, moderating the next session. Stay with us. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody and welcome back live. My name is Edoardo Rota. I'm EIT Manufacturing Innovation Manager, and in the second part of this event we are going to present to you technologies and best practices to implement a more sustainable, flexible and resilient production system. How we are going to organize the next 1.5 hours? We're going to have 2 panel discussions where we are going to have, let's say, two panels anticipated by a keynote speech from one of our guests. So let me introduce you the first keynote speech for the day, Eleonora Marino. Eleonora Marino is the Innovation Project Manager in Prima Additive. Hi, Eleonora. Nice to see you on stage. And Eleonora will talk about advanced manufacturing process and related benefit for SMEs. So please, Eleonora, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eduardo, and thank you, everybody. And I will open this session by introducing you some trends in manufacturing, and also show with you how our group, a group like Prima Industrie, is facing this kind of trends and some solution for the SME. As Prima Industrie is a large group. Sorry. And global group, sorry for the interaction. We are a global group that act actually on a local area. So we are large, but we collaborate with the small enterprise and we provide services and solutions for small enterprises. We have different divisions and we are able to work on modules and systems that could be flexible for small enterprise. Scusi, allora, I'm sorry for that, but I know that you are not seeing the presentation. Maybe now is better. And okay. We are a group that can work on different solutions. And as you know, I'm just introducing you some growing mega trends that manufacturing also is facing. We already see some comments and some information about the digital transformations and circular economy from the previous topic. But there are also different areas where we can work, not only like large enterprise, but also like small and medium enterprises, working on the part of innovation and also on manufacturing. In particular, Prima Industrie is working and provides solutions that are flexible and modular, laser-based solution for industrial manufacturing and advanced processes. So flexible in order to follow these megatrends, support the small enterprise on doing that, and also working with them in order to push some solution in modular and laser technology, industrial and also advanced process with laser. So some of the examples that we can consider, and the core business of our group is based on the laser technology for 3D and 2D solutions, so laser cutting, welding, but also advanced laser processes like additive manufacturing or laser source and industrial electronics. So we are able to work on different modules and advanced modules in order to provide the solution for the different industries. And in this sense, for small enterprise and medium one, we are able to provide not only the equipment, but also some of the services that the small enterprise needs to work on that. We know that in this case, the manufacturing is application driven. So in order to support the small enterprise to work on that, but I think all companies can work on supporting the small enterprise in adopting sustainable solutions, in innovative modules in order to face this mega trend. In particular, Prima work with SME and with the small and medium one in value scouting and support customer in technology adoption. So full support also in the integration of this advanced process. And some of the examples that we can see together comes from our expertise in laser and mechatronics solutions. So regarding the laser, we have experience with the laser source, and that's why we are able to work on components that include also different wavelengths of the laser source for the materials. So in this case, for example, you can see that there are some parts, especially printed in additive manufacturing, but in general treated with, for example, green laser. So green laser for high reflective materials like pure copper, aluminum. And these allow us to work on efficiency and flexibility of the laser source and the full equipment that we can provide on for the companies. Another solution, another flexible solution that we have comes from the experience of mechatronics and laser processes. So in the case of additive manufacturing, we are able to provide some systems that can not only integrate the laser source, different source, but also work on multi-optical devices or a flexible solution and adoption for the adoption of modules like a new laser head or new laser source that are patented for the equipment. This means that it makes the components and the system itself very flexible and with a high performance for the companies. And these are some of the examples with the additive manufacturing. So being able to work on the equipment, on the mechatronics and on laser, we are also able to reduce the operative cost and increment the part of productivity for this part of process. So even if the additive manufacturing is still an advanced process and needs to be treated like a new technology, we can work together also with small enterprise to improve this process and get new results and new solutions with these flexible machines that we provide. Another trend is a flexible and circular economy path. So in this case, the system with the D&D technology, direct energy deposition, is able to use the laser and work on metal powder in order to repair different parts. And this means that in order to approach the circularity, the circular economy trend, we can reduce the cost of repairing or even increase the life cycle of the part. And then, of course, this part can be considered not only for the equipment, but also for the training and education that we already saw in the previous session. So if we speak about small enterprise, especially for them, we have to know that it is not only a matter of equipment, but it is also a matter of integrating this technology in the industry, but also including the training, the skill and reskilling of the operator. And in order to do that, EIT manufacturing is one of the main actors to support this approach, together with small enterprise and large enterprise to work on that. So to support the innovation and the part of adoption of new technologies. So in this session, I will launch the discussion about the part of the possibility to integrate new solution and flexible solution for small enterprise with the support of the EIT manufacturing. And that's all from my side, and I thank you for the invitation and the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleonora, for your very interesting pitch and very clear. I have a question for you. I'm an SME. I'm listening to your pitch, and I would like to start to implement some more flexible solution in my production plant, and also to let the people that are working in my company to understand what it means. So where do you suggest to start? I will start with a training. I will start trying to look for some technology. So what is the starting point if I'm an SME and I want to approach this new model, let's say?
Well, the first part is to understand which kind of application needs can be treated. Let's think about the additive manufacturing. We can support the SME in the feasibility study and the adoption of the technology, understanding which kind of solution they can adopt. And also, of course, it is a matter of introducing the system and work on that. So work on the system and work with the team, our team, also EIT, that can support them in introducing the technology.
Thank you, Eleonora, for your answer. Okay, again, thank you for your participation here today and to introducing this first panel. And now it's time to move to the first panel discussion. And I'm very happy to have today here with me for this first panel discussion our three first guests. Valeria Tirelli, President and CEO of Hydro, Michele Poggipollini, Executive Director of Poggipollini, and Roberto Rossi, General Manager and Co-founder of Smart Robots. Nice to see you. And first question is general, and I would like to use it to set the background of this panel discussion. So can you tell us more about your company and your business? So actually what you do in your company. And I would like to start with Valeria.
Yes, thank you, Edoardo. I'm very happy to be here today with you and share my experience as SME. So Hydro was founded almost 40 years ago. Hydro is an hydraulics company. We are specialized in the design and the production of hydraulics component, something like valve, manifold, heat exchangers. And a few years ago, we discovered additive manufacturing. At the beginning, we used this technology to produce prototypes or tooling for our conventional manufacturing of valve and hydraulics component. But more and more we understood the benefit and the potentiality of this technology, and more we were fascinated by this potentiality. And then we start to change our mind to adopt the new mindset, the design for additive manufacturing, and we start to think in a different way for hydraulics component. That's why we were really amazed by this technology, and we decided to invest, especially in the metal additive manufacturing. And we have created our internal department from the design to the 3D printing, so with the machine and the post-processing. It's really a very nice technology. We have a lot of benefits, and we still produce the conventional hydraulics, but we have a very innovative and added value product thanks to additive manufacturing.
Thank you, Valeria. Very clear pitch, and you keep your time, so thank you. And now let's move to Michele, and please can you tell us more about Poggipollini?
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Poggipollini is an SME. We are located in Bologna. We are expert in engineering and manufacturing fastening solutions and precision parts and systems. Our core business is today in the aerospace industry. About 70% of the turnover of the company is in the aerospace, mainly helicopter, space and defense, and 30% is the automotive. We started about 50 years ago working on titanium, so very exotic and advanced material for fasteners. And we started to introduce fasteners in titanium and new materials from the Formula One industry, which was for us the main industry up to 2010. So 80% of our business was F1 in 2010, and we started to transfer our solutions into the aerospace industry, and today also for the automotive. We are, first of all, offering our customers engineering services and then industrialization for weight reduction. Today, weight is very key, also in the automotive with the electric cars and, of course, in the aerospace and space. But we are not only, let's say, limited to fasteners. So we are today expert in transmission components and sophisticated systems. We have a very strong innovation team. We started technologies like today I see a lot of additive manufacturing, which is for us also very, very interesting technology. About 20 years ago, printing the components for Ferrari wind tunnel applications. And I really believe that in combining together new manufacturing processes like additive manufacturing, new post-processing solutions, it could really scale up into advanced solutions. We are today announcing also a new manufacturing process that will scale up our industry, and we are, let's say, very happy today with all of you this afternoon.
Thank you, Michele, for your introduction of Poggi Pollini. And last but not least, Roberto, can you tell us more about smart robots?
Sure. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you, Edoardo and EIT, for the invitation. Smart Robots is a company based in Milan, born in 2016, and part of Innovia Group and also spin-off for Politecnico di Milano. What we do in Smart Robots? Smart Robots has developed an intelligent 3D vision product, you can see here, which eliminates errors in operator manual activities, in applications like assembly, manual packaging, machine preparations, and applied both in fixed stations or in line. How it works? Our system recognizes human actions, so checks the sequences of the operations and signal instantaneously, intuitively, the error to the operator itself, and guiding the operator with visual instructions. As the product is easy to install and configure, it's also normally the final customer integrator to install it and to configure new products and processes. So with really negligible setup time, it's very flexible, our system, to different products, different processes. Also with as batches of small size are typical of small and medium enterprises. The main need of our customers is to eliminate human error cost, while keeping which is human capabilities and to guarantee the quality of human labor. So that's the goal of our product and what solve our product. And our customers are both multinational, but also small, medium enterprises in very different fields: automotive, mechanical components, electromechanical components, electronics, many others, where the operator has to perform manual activities. That's the main requirement to use our product.
Thank you, Roberto, also for your introduction. And let's come back to Valeria. So we faced in the last 2 years a pandemic situation, and of course, I'm sure that Hydro faced challenge too in this period. And so, how did you react as Hydro during this period, and what did you learn?
Yes, as an SME, we were always flexible, and we take care about our customers. And especially during the pandemic, we learned to be even more flexible and taking care about our customers, because the customers are our priority. And we had to reply very promptly to our customers and to adopt also new procedures. New way of working, of course, because some of our people were not in the office, they were doing smart working. So we started to use a new way to communicate, a new platform, of course. But always we think about to, guarantee the supply to our customers, because we, as a hydraulics manufacturer, we also serve industries like agricultural or food machinery. So some industry that were considered very essential in that period. And of course, thanks to the fact that we already had additive manufacturing inside our company, we were able to reply on demand and to reply to customize the request. As you know, additive manufacturing is one of the technology that is considered to be used when there is a need, a special need, and when the conventional manufacturing cannot reach in a very prompt time the reply to the customers. So I think that also using additive manufacturing and to already have adopted a new mentality linked to this technology helped us a lot to be always ready to face also this new and incredible period that we had last years.
Thank you, Valeria. Very complete answer. Thank you very much. And now back to Michele. I know that, and you anticipated that you launched on the market a new production process based on high-speed forging, and you also receive a grant from an SME instrument for that kind of solution. Can you give us more information about that?
Yes, of course. It's a new manufacturing process for critical fasteners. As you said, we are expert in hot forging and hot thread rolling. We started in Formula One, then we took this technology into the aerospace, but helicopters, so for example, critical fasteners for transmission and rotors. And then in 2015, we had the, let's say, the vision to start thinking how we can enter into the commercial aircraft industry. That means, let's say, supporting and servicing our customers with higher volumes, but working on the specialties that normally are an issue or a problem to find in the market, because our competitors, in that case, we are talking about multi-billion companies. So we decided internally, and working with our partners, like suppliers, but also university, and also a startup at the time, to rethink our manufacturing process, which is very complex, is very, let's say, sophisticated. And the idea was to take it into one line, into one process, to maintain the flexibility and to be modular, to be flexible, let's say, regarding not the volumes that we need to produce, but the volumes of part numbers. So working on the ship set concept instead of high volumes and one part number. So we took together our know-how with our partners' know-how. We also participated to the SME instrument phase 2 for the Horizon, let's say, funding. And also we were able to win it. So that was in 2017. So today this new process is a fully automatic line with a capacity of 10 million of fasteners every year. So today Poggiopolini is making roughly 1 million, and it's really scalable. And the interesting thing is that we conceived this line to be a factory within the factory, that we can scale in our plant here in Bologna, but that also we can bring next to our customers with completely, let's say, not completely, but today we are 70% remote controlling. So it's through a digital twin project that we have done in Poggiopolini, and we call this the high-speed hot forging. It's also interesting not only for the aerospace, but for the automotive side, because today, for example, titanium bolts are used in hypercars. So we are talking about 2 million, 3 million cars. And the main goal for us is to take it into premium cars, the premium segment. And this is very interesting because we can think to save about 10 to 15 kilograms of weight in a premium car. And weight, as I was saying, it's very important. And of course, the price must be aligned. And thanks to this process, we are, let's say, getting this objective.
Thank you, Michele. Very interesting solution you presented. And yeah, moving again to Roberto. So I know Smart Robot solution. I have the opportunity to try it. And my question is how your solution can enhance SMEs' competitiveness, in particular referring to the manufacturing sector.
Perfect, thank you. Let's start that from the fact that the human labor is very, very relevant in manufacturing in Europe. In Europe, there are 35 million workers in manufacturing, and it's really important to keep their flexibility, their craftsmanship, that is linked to the unique quality of products that differentiates European small medium enterprise manufacturing. But to keep this competitiveness, the operator needs to focus on high value added operations and to improve efficiency and quality of manual labor. So a smart robot to this goal of competitiveness provides three main advantages, I would say. The first one is to provide error-free operations, to reduce the really high cost due to errors. That's a really important part of P&L. The second part, the second elements, the second advantage is the objectivation of manual activities. That means to guarantee quality process, quality of the products in manual activities. That's really important for the customer of our customers. And the third one is about the digitalization of the process, of manual process. The data provided by smart robots can be used to improve processes, to enable agile optimization, continuous improvement. It's really, really important for agile and flexible manufacturing, such that it's impossible to keep human manual labor. It is crucial for our sectors, and also to some occasion also to reshore manufacturing in Europe.
Thank you, Roberto, for your, let's say, bullet point of key benefit for SME. Very, 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 very good. And we don't have time to go to a new round of questions, but very briefly, I would like to ask each of you in few words, what are the key aspects an SME should focus to move forward in the next 3 years? So starting with Valeria, very few words, each of you, please.
Yes, I think that one of the main points is sustainability. And again, thanks to additive manufacturing, we are able to create a sustainable product and to adopt a new process. And another point that I'd like to underline is that Hydro is recently being part of a big group. So we are now part of the Desktop Metal group. So we are not more only alone, but we are part of big group. So we can join forces with other companies to boost additive manufacturing into the next generation of production.
Thank you, Valeria. And Michele, a few words for you.
In my opinion, it's very important to have a vision and to have a vision based on the innovation. And what we say normally is speed up the future. So what we are creating at Poggipolini, it's a sort of factory that is based on open innovation collaborations with our competence center, with our university, with our partners and customers in order to accelerate through our know-how, but also the distributed know-how, new solutions, a new system, new products that we can offer in the future. For example, one of the spin-offs that we did is based on the intelligent fastener that we are introducing now into the markets and scene. So for me, innovation, it will be the key. Fast innovation will be the key for the next 3 years.
Thank you, Michele. And now, Roberto, very last 2 words, because we are running out of time from you.
Okay, I perfectly agree with Michele and Valeria about innovation, sustainability, really important. Last word, human-centric manufacturing, I would add. That's really important, but I know that time is stopped.
Thank you all. And unfortunately, the time is over now. And I would like to really thank you, Valeria Tirelli, Michele Poggipolini, and Roberto Rossi for this very interesting discussion. And now it's time to move to the second session that will start with an introduction by Professor Dimitris Kiritris. And let me introduce you Professor Dimitris Kiritsis here with us today. Professor Dimitris is leading the ICT for Sustainable Manufacturing Group at the EPFL institution in Lausanne. And I'm very happy to have you here today, Dimitris. And I know that you have an interesting presentation about the data transformation and digital twin. So I would like to leave the floor to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. So shall I share my screen now?
Yes, please.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
We have it, yes.
Okay.
You should click presentation mode, actually, to have it full screen, please.
I did it.
Okay, yes, now we have. You can start.
Okay, very good. So thank you very much for joining the session, and thanks for the opportunity to share with you this information and my views on So the new need in manufacturing, so resilience, which means collaboration among stakeholders and how we can do it. So first of all, I am Dimitris Kiritsis. I'm professor of ICT for sustainable manufacturing at EPFL and collaborating with the University of Oslo in some new European funded projects. So my view is that nowadays, so what we do is based on data, on information, and on sharing on data information in a kind of closed loop. And these closed loops, link together all the stakeholders that are involved in the manufacturing and the use and all the services that are provided by physical products, physical assets and products that we are producing and consuming. And this happens due to the new enabling technologies, such as the Internet of Things, the cyber physical systems that allow small devices like sensors and identification devices, seamless wireless communication identification devices. These devices allow all the stakeholders to connect together and somehow all the data that they produce to be shared among themselves. And this all along the life cycle phases, from the design, from the beginning of life where things are designed and produced, through the middle of life where things are used, and then up to the end of life. So realizing what we call today circular economy and or green economy, etc. So I would like to share with you my experience through the number of European projects that I've done recently. And some of them, like Boost 4.0 and Quality, which is still running, so contributed to the creation of the Digital Factory Alliance. And all these people working in these projects that have to do with data and the use of data, the exploration of data, mainly in manufacturing applications, agreed on this architecture that you see there, where you have data, what we call data endpoints. So where data are created, generated, and also systems that manage this data, like ERP systems or cloud systems, edge systems, etc. These data are then integrated and managed by various techniques and analyzed and go back to the consumers of this data, the stakeholders that I mentioned before, to be used to create value, various forms of value. So not only economical value, but also environmental or social value, which are the pillars of sustainability. So digital twins now are tools, let's say user-friendly and efficient tools that I believe allow to connect the stakeholders better together. And you see that I mentioned many times stakeholders, because the topic is about SMEs, and stakeholders are key stakeholders in current value chains. Let's say SMEs are among the stakeholders that they create the most useful of this value, I think, in all these sustainability pillars, social, economic, and environmental. So digital twins, what they are virtual instances, so software, pieces of software that are connected permanently with physical systems, and they allow the data that are created, as we said before, generated by the physical systems. They allow to explore in a simple way and in a human-friendly way the information about the physical products, the physical assets that are used by SMEs or by OEMs that they have to collaborate together. And this may happen through the life cycle of the physical system. So the key element of these digital twins are, first of all, the physical elements, the physical twin, then the virtual models that are represented in the digital twin. They allow the digital twin to exist. Then the data of the digital twin that are used by the digital twins, generated at the physical part of the twin. And then what we can do with all these data, which are mainly services, various types of services, such as, for example, something which is very trendy these days, maintenance and predictive maintenance. And of course, this happens through various types of connections that are have to happen between the physical entities, the virtual entities, and the services. So these are the basics of digital twins that are starting to be used, and they will be used more and more in the near future. And the challenges of the digital twins, or the digital twins are called to be addressed, are that digital twins, first of all, may be heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means that they coming from various types of applications that they have to collaborate together. For example, design applications or operation applications, etc. And digital twins are designed and used in order to provide the solutions to the high complexity of modern industrial systems. And by industrial systems, I mean the design, the production, and the use of the outputs of the industrial systems. And these digital twins may allow to close the loops, as you see here, from design and build of a car, for example, of building this car, the operation of this car, and the data that are generated through all these phases, through and thanks to digital twins, may help to close in a simpler than today anyway way the information loops. So close these information loops, and the closing of these information loops allows for better decisions in cooperation, allow the stakeholders, SMEs, OEMs, and others, service providers to collaborate together through these digital twins and take more and better informative decisions for their operations. So one of the technologies that allow this to happen in a better way is what we call semantic technologies that allow transformation of data to information and to knowledge in a meaningful way. Meaningful, I mean that we go to the meanings of the data that we have. And these technologies are based on models that we call ontologies, that they are based on entities and knowledge graphs, that they allow the exploration of this data in terms of entities, in particular databases that are used today, but most of the what we call data lakes and data management tools. And one particular property of these technologies is that it allows both types of data, structured data and unstructured data that are available everywhere, to be linked together, whatever the source of this data is. So these kind of technologies may even go one step further and allow many types of digital twins to be linked together and correlate information coming from various types of digital twins and allow humans to make use at the same times of various types of digital twins. For example, bring together and allow to work together computer-aided 3D models, representation of products, with CFD models, for example, and performance models in the same modeling environment. And this allow to get knowledge from all of these sources of knowledge, all these sources of information, which allow the systems to implement what we call cognitive capabilities. What does it mean, cognitive capabilities? That systems may help the humans to take better decisions, more informative decisions, or even go further and allow systems to take a decision themselves and increase their level of autonomy, which again will help better and more the human decision making. So, as we said before, all these new systems become quite complex, and in order to understand them and govern them, we have to have a representation, a good representation of these systems. So there are, aside what I presented before, the semantic technologies, we have also the system modeling technologies. It's called model-based system engineering. There are already standards about that, which allows what? Allows various types of stakeholders, and according to their interests. So stakeholders, they have interests, so they can identify their interests in architectures that are represented physical architecture of physical entities. So also they have concerns. These concerns are represented in various viewpoints of the system, are represented by model types and models. So these are technical details that maybe are not of interest to discuss them today. But these details are represented in what I said before, cognitive entities. The semantics of these models are represented in these semantic structures and architectures, and allow for more informative decisions by both systems and humans. Humans, I mean stakeholders, that they have to work together in order to take decisions and adapt to situations. So one lesson from the pandemic is that we need to be more resilient. What does it mean resilient? Adapt to the new situations. How we can adapt to the new situations by talking better, by communicating better together, both systems and humans. And this kind of technologies, I believe, will help. So this kind of technologies, in order to be efficient and effective, they have to be based on commons. What is commons? Commons are common ways to communicate and to understand each other. We call them sustainable industry commons. They are forms of standards that they are coming and they correlate requirements from systems that they are at the beginning of life, middle of life, or end of life, and the interest of their stakeholders, to facilitate these data flows that allow people and systems to take information decisions, as I repeated many times here. So commons are essential elements of resilience, essential elements of decision-making in current complex systems that they bring together various stakeholders. This need for commons and standards will increase in the near future. So this Eureka is a running European project in the call for resilience during the pandemic. And what we have here, so I took one slide from this project, to which I believe illustrates everything that I said before. So here we have in the value chain, we have OEMs and we have suppliers. And as I said, there is a need of all of them to collaborate in order to implement resilient decision-making systems. And we have various other types of consumers or users of this, so that they have also to collaborate. For example, care centers or hospitals during the pandemic, the products that they needed to be resilient and factories to be to adapt to produce in urgency healthcare products with the support of governments. All these stakeholders have to communicate together, thanks to semantic technologies. So also needs to be certified. How certification is done? Certification is done based on information, based on data that has to be collected from all the stakeholders. And what are the business activities? So assessment of the risks, and be aware of the context that we do the adaptations and support, remote support, because traveling was difficult. Skilling and training, skilling is absolutely necessary. All these needs are to be satisfied by data and information that are becoming available through the systems and the stakeholders all along the value chain. So, and the framework that allows that, ZDM is zero defect manufacturing. Of course, all of these things have to be done not with making reductions to quality requirements. On the contrary, quality should be increased, and systems have to connect together. So this was my very short introduction to just to give you an overview of the landscape as it is seen today by research communities and actors in building these new generations of systems that they will explore data-driven technologies such as digital twins to provide answers to resilience requirements of the new industrial framework. Thank you very much, and I will be happy to stay and contribute to the discussion of the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dimitris. You share a lot of insight with us today. I have a very quick question for you. I am an European manufacturer in a small company. I have some machine connected, I generate data, but I don't have any digital twin solution implemented. So where I should start? I should try to cover the entire production plan. I should start from a specific part of the process. So what is your suggestion?
Very good question, Eduardo, and thanks for asking this. So what I said is the landscape as it is, let's say, implemented or start to be implemented now. So the digital solutions or the digital twins are tools that are at the at the beginning of their deployment. So there are some vendors that they start, let's say, promoting digital twins tools and digital twin solutions. And there are also consultants. They can implement prototypes of digital twins. But my suggestion would be for partners, so in a value chain, not individuals, not just one company, but this, in my opinion, should be done in partnership among partners in value chains to start implement digital twins solutions to problems where they are absolute masters. They know what they are doing, and start, as it is the practice, I think in IT, in every IT program, start with a small scale, with a pilot, learn from that, also upskill or reskill the actors, the operators that they will work with that. And as soon as they feel ready by what they learned from these pilot cases, enlarge the development and the exploitation of digital twin architectures to the wider extent of their applications and tools.
Thank you, Dimitris, again for your very precise answer. And thank you for your time today and to introduce this second panel discussion. Thank you. And now it's time to move to the second panel discussion. Hello, and now we have on stage our new free guest, Jamil Istait, Vice President of Industry 4.0 at Razor Lab, Maurizio Giubilato, Founder and CEO at Flexcon, and Alessandro Ceriani, Board Member of Univet. Very nice to see you here today on the stage. And again, the very first question is general, and I would like to use it to let the audience know more about you. So, can you tell us more about your company and your business? And I would like to start with Jamil.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. It's a great pleasure to be here with you in this important panel. So my name is Jamil Istait. I'm from Razor Labs. Razor Labs is actually a software company, an AI company, which develops unique solutions for predictive maintenance and predictive quality, as was mentioned in the previous presentation. The company was founded before 5 years. It's headquartered in Israel, and we have also some offices, 2 offices in Australia, and hopefully soon also in Europe. Currently, we have 100 employees, and at the beginning of this year, we were listed at the Israeli stock market. And what we are actually developing is AI solutions and products which are fed from 2 sources: time series data from industrial control systems and vision systems, which are made for visual inspection, for detecting quality issues, but also for employees' safety. We are active in the mining industry, in the manufacturing, focusing on the battery production, lithium battery production, and utilities like power plants, grid, and water. And what is unique in our product and solution is that, as you know, many organizations have tried to implement artificial intelligence, but not every project at the end was successful, because algorithms are relying on the input data you feed them, and may sometimes give many false alarms or false positives, and which are not always with a business value in many cases. For that, we have developed a unique business approach. We call it Critical Control Indicators, CCI, which is a semi-automatic use case developing procedure, very interesting approach. So the automatic side of this approach is from the algorithm. So we get an automatic scanning and output. But the second part of the process is understanding the process, the manufacturing process itself, together with the customer, focusing on the CCIs that when they go outside the control limits, we have a painful failure. And we are talking about the business perspective, not only technical perspectives, because if the issue does not have a business value, So we are just finding problems that no one will deal with. So we monitor each CCI and indicate for it a health score and are able to predict from few days up to 1 month that a failure will occur with recommendations how to avoid the failure by a preventive action. That's RazorLab in a nutshell.
Thank you, Jamil, very clear. And now let's move to Maurizio, nice to see you. And can you tell us more about FlexCon, please?
Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Maurizio Giubilato. I'm the founder of FlexCon. FlexCon is a small consulting and development company who provide software and simulation services and software and services on the process simulation market. Basically, we are in the market since 2005. We've been part of the business incubator of Politecnico Torino named it I3P. And our business is focused on creation and development on the simulation model of logistic systems, manufacturing line, and material system. Basically, our activity is focused on supporting our customer to understand exactly how the production system and logistics system behave, help them to solve and to fix issues around them. And since the last 5 years, we are also using simulation system as a virtual copy, as has been stated before, as a digital twin of the ongoing or an existing manufacturing system. Our technology based on open system that might be completely customizable, that support 3D virtual reality, augmented reality visualization system, and of course are fully connected to all the physical production system. Basically, our activity is focused on supporting, on training customer on the system we are selling and we are offering to them, and help them to build their own digital model, and supporting, let's say, our partner to use digital twin for all their manufacturing issues. And this is basically our company, FlexCon, in few words.
Thank you, Maurizio. Very clear. And last but not least, Alessandro, nice to see you. And can you tell us more about Univet?
Yeah. Hello to all. Yes, thank you. I would like to speak about an optical company. Univet was established in 1997. In 20 years, it's one of the first Italian manufacturers for safety glasses. It's a group that has a turnover about 40 million of euro, and it involves 117 people all over the world, with many controlled companies in 10 countries all over the world. The statement of the company is, your eyes, our passion. The company started at the very beginning in the luxury business, and then the company developed a very specific technology and know-how for manufacturing safety glasses. So the company is involved in manufacturing products that are unique. So our design products, there are optimal fittings for this kind of glasses, and also the company is trying to maximize the performances. It's important to protect the eyes. Of course, according to a recent statistics, 60% of the people is wearing glasses. Sorry, it means that we need to have a protection, and we need also prescriptions. So putting together these two features, be protected in a manufacturing site, or protecting for such an example in the laser industry for the laser devices, it means that our eyes are so important to be protected. Univet has a very deep know-how in optical technologies, and the key segments are safety glasses, laser for high protection with the laser devices, sorry, and also the magnification systems for in the dental segment or doctors. Last but not least, 4 years ago, there was a very nice idea putting together the optical technology for the augmented reality. This was a partnership with the Sony Corporation, but the key focus on the project was starting from the glasses. A worker needed glasses for its daily work, so putting together a safety glass with the augmented reality technology. That was the new challenge of the company. Starting, just to give you an idea, the company, the experience that the company had in the luxury business was very useful for creating products that are perfectly designed. They are perfectly these products are comfortable and they're perfectly fittings for each worker's working site. Outside, inside, with fog, minus 40 degrees, over 40 degrees in a desert, and so on. So that it's again, an unique product manufacturer for protecting the eyes with all the, say, Italian passion and features. I think that for Univet, that it's a truly Italian company, this characteristic can be the perfect description of the item of the company and of the items that are manufactured.
Thank you. Thank you, Alessandro, for the introduction of Univet, and we will come back to you later to talk more about Visionaire, the 4.0 solution that you have. I would like to come back to Jamil now, and I know that in your previous role, Jamil, you work on defining Industry 4.0 strategy for a big corporate, but can you give us some tips that can also fit for SMEs?
Sure. So all of the principles are very similar. I don't think that the basics are in a difference. So maybe the volume of the activities are a bit different. So first of all, we need to realize that Industry 4.0, it's about people, attitude, approach, and leadership. And it's not only about technology. So I have gathered some tips and points. Maybe they will be useful for all the rest of the SMEs too. So the first tip is to decide what you want to achieve or improve, like OEE, capacity, sustainability, traceability, etc. Second, you need to appoint someone to lead this activity. In some organizations, they think that if they keep it at the IT or engineering or somewhere in the middle, something will happen. In most cases, it doesn't push forward. Understand your current position. So you need to do an assessment by professional tools or methodology. I, in person, used the German Acatech approach with the support of the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center, which even has a free scanning platform on their website. Everyone can use it and try it. Develop a roadmap that includes the 4 aspects, and this is very critical. To look also at the resources, IT systems, organizational structure, and culture. Who skip the organizational structure and culture activity, in many cases will not be able to move forward. Point number 5, build a team. So it could be by Industry 4.0 personnel that the organization appointed. It should have also the IT and OT teams, which are not the same teams in many manufacturing organizations. Operational excellence are very critical, and yes, human resources must be within this scope. You need to build an estimated budget for the 3 to 5 years of activity, and prepare a detailed budget for the year after or the year come. Get a wide buy-in of the senior management and execute while making sure that resources, IT infrastructure, organizational structure, and culture are being developed at a similar pace. And why is that? It doesn't make any sense to invest in IT systems and build a new SCADA or MES system while the IT capabilities and skills of the people who are going to work with those systems are not upgraded or upskilled. So the idea is to extend everything together. Of course, you need to build learning and training activities, even if they are at a basic level. Propose a document with a procurement standard for machinery, because we want to start buying machines that are prepared for the future with all the connectivity features. And make sure that everyone is using it, because we don't want them only to be a piece of paper. Discover technologies, do POCs, always with a clear vision how we may scale it up. If it's not scalable, so don't start even evaluating it. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, be careful when choosing use cases and execute them. Try to avoid disappointments. Unfortunately, it is very hard to fix it later. And believe me, I have tried that. Last but not least, make use of the EIT manufacturing platforms and the solutions and services that are offered, because they are very valuable also for SMEs and also for big corporates.
Thank you, Jamil. I counted at least 8 tips, so very good. I hope our SMEs take some notes. And I would like to move to Maurizio again. So we know that being able to predict the future, simulating what is going on, what's going to happen in an industrial environment is very important. It's a very important, powerful tool. And can you give us some example of application of the solution, some use cases?
Right. First of all, simulation is not, let's say, a pure prediction tool, but I'd like to describe it as a tool that helps people to understand how things are behaving, and having reached that understanding, it is able to change them, to optimize them, and to make them work in an optimal way. So the way that we are using simulation is several manufacturing logistic fields. As I said before, for example, we have a broad application in automotive market. So the idea is to simulate how lines can produce car, and understand how much product they can provide, where are the critical points of the line. We also have different use cases for general automation, for example, packaging or woodworking market, on which the target is essentially the same. It's basically the same, to understand how a line could perform, but this case is much more, let's say, focusing on the support of the company to help their potential customer, to convince their potential customer that the line can perform in a correct way. And what is most important, and in the last 2 years, along the pandemic, we also use it because we have been let's say, requested from Polytechnic of Torino. We used the simulation in different fields. For example, we never experienced flow simulation to study what are the impact, of course, the contagion impact in a COVID environment. And we help to understand how, let's say, factories, how production sites, how a supermarket can be organized differently in order to reduce the pandemic impact. One important, let's say, application that we have for simulation is the digital twin, as we stated before, to build virtual copy of a production system fully connected to to the real line, to the real factory. And the aim is to test part of the software that has been, PLC software, for example, or automation software that has been implemented for that line, or in different cases, to test the software without that line exists. Today, simulation is a key component for each digital transformation project. It's essentially an Industry 4.0, let's say, program, simply because we have a tight integration between virtual model, physical model, and also some advanced visualization devices, such as virtual reality and augmented reality devices.
Thank you, Maurizio. So more than predict the future, I would say that you collect all the data you have in the present to avoid any surprise in the future. I will summarize.
Oh, right. It's not a crystal ball, but it's let's say engineering tool and presentation tool these days.
Thank you, Maurizio. And again to Alessandro. So you already introduced a little bit Visionaire. I would like to call like this, or Vision ER. And so you are Univets a few years ago, you have your products, but why you decide to move forward and to implement Industry 4.0 technology into your, let's say, traditional device?
Yeah, the challenge was thinking about the future. And I think that in 2017, when the first prototype was manufactured, it was just a vision. That was the also origin of the name Vision plus AR as augmented reality, so Visionaire. It means having a vision, thinking about the future needs. Of course, we were not ready at that time. And after the pandemic, of course, these challenges were becoming true. Just to make an example, if we talk about remote assistance. So we had the technology, we had the device, but nobody was prepared for this kind of application. Today, the industry is starting to thinking about these services as let's say key services for equipments, for big machinery. So that was the challenge, that was the idea. And what was also I think the basis of this kind of product, knowing how to manufacture glasses. The optical technologies was the key driver of this product. It means that instead of starting from the technology, from the electronics, there was a different view, starting from the glasses, starting from the know-how of the company. So the idea was we need a safety glasses that is combined with augmented reality features. It means combining, let's say, two key features. Safety glasses, so glasses that can be used in a working site, because we know that we need certification, we need specific features of this kind of glasses, plus that was adding value to this kind of product, giving the electronics with the augmented reality. So it was a vision. It was based on the know-how of the company. It was based also on the experience of the people on the company, the designers, all the engineers. During the preparation of the molds, the prototype, it was a very, very big challenge. But at the end, we have a product. Of course, the pandemic was accelerating the needs of the company and say, we are ready for this kind of technology. It's a first step. We have a product. There are many cases that many, let's say, use cases that have to be implemented, because the industry right now, it's demanding on, let's say, potential potential opportunity of using this kind of glasses. Of course, it's a long journey. We are only at the beginning, but again, it was a vision. It was, and this vision was possible only based because there was the optical technology and the experience in the optical business. That was the region, that was the idea, and that was, let's say, the story of these last 5 years. Of course, with, let's say, some lights and shadows, but at the end, we are lucky, we have a product, but also we are a little bit proud. It's Italian, and it's full of all the, let's say, Italian knowledge in terms of fashion, design, comfortable glasses and electronics.
Thank you, Alessandro. And yeah, I guess you choose the right name because you share a very inspiring vision with us today with this story. And again, we are running a little bit out of time, so I'm going to ask you a very quick question. So I would like to an answer from you in one sentence, few words. So what are the key aspects an SME should focus to move forward in the next 3 years? And I would like to start with Jamil.
I think that SMEs should focus on the digitalization and Industry 4.0 topics, but on a strategic approach. The maturity of the technologies are good enough to start if they have not started the journey. So I think that Alessandro gave today an amazing example of taking a classical safety issue, combining it with the workforce shortage, maintenance, remote work, maintenance activities, and sustainabilities, and also employee safety, packing it all together in a solution that the market demands and the digitalization are able to support. And here we have a smart product which is taking an organization to the next step. So amazing.
Thank you, Jamil. And Maurizio, a few words from you, please.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jamil. Whatever is concerned, the process, this digitalization, and whatever is relevant, the transformation of manufacturing process in a digital manner that can be studied, and of course, the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to get better information and drive better, let's say, the process optimization, of course. These are the 2 tips I see right now.
Thank you, Maurizio. And we close with Alessandro. Few words from you, please.
Yeah, usually I say, thank you for Jamil, Maurizio. You're right, digitalization, but the word is it's made by iron. So I will not, let's say, the old industry, it's over. So I think that, like in the case of Univet, a very solid knowledge in terms of know-how, experience, technology is the basis, and then we can have the digitalization and also the new technologies. But the base, it's the old industry, because again, we need bridges, we need buildings, whatever we need, it's based on our old technology that can be, let's say, implemented. But the base is having a solid industrial experience.
Thank you, Alessandro, also for your words. And well, I would like to thank you all again, Jamil Said, Maurizio Giubilato, and Alessandro Ceriani for this panel discussion. Now it's time to close this session. Thank you again. And so we reached the end of this event, SME The Way Forward. But before closing, I would like to invite you to our next event, the 4th of November, dedicated to SMEs, where we will present membership and funding opportunities in EIT manufacturing. I hope you enjoyed this afternoon with us, and I wish you a really good evening. Thank you.